Okay. Your warm-up for today. You are saving for a new phone. You have saved $5 each week and already have $10. Your friend saves $3 each week and already has $20. After how many weeks will you both have the same amount of money? Okay. So we've got $5 each week. Already have 10, so that's flat. $3 each week. Already has 20. All right. You, your friend. You, 5 a week and has 10. Friend, 3 a week, use the same variable, has 20. And we want to know when they're the same. So equals. All right. And now that we've got the equation, we solve for x. So minus 3, 3x minus 3x. That's good. Let's go ahead and move our 10 as well. Minus 10, minus 10. That's going to be 2x and then that's 10. And then divide by 2. Divide by 2. X equals 5. Okay. Of course, I forgot to do my checklist. I apologize. That would be, there were no parentheses. And there were no like terms to combine. We moved our variables left. We moved our constants right. Yep, variable on left, constant on right. Bingo, bingo. And then last we divided. So absolutely, we hit all of our points. And now we're ready to check. 5 times 5 plus 10 equals 3 times 5 plus 20. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 10 is 35. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 20 is 35. Check. We got it right. Don't forget to write down your I will statement and work your filling in the gaps question. Remember to be active learners during instruction. Listen without talking. Write down your work. Use your notes to help you with your practice. All right, here we go. So, not a new topic today, not anything we haven't handled before. We're just going to focus in on some parts that hopefully will help y'all do better on your test on Friday. Okay, so one thing that we struggle with doing is actually checking our work. Okay, there is no reason to miss a solving an equation problem because you can check it and know whether you're right or wrong. So let's check this problem that's been worked. So let me change the size of that. There we go. We've got 3, replace the x with the answer we had, equals 2, replace the x, plus 50. Well, 3 times 10 is 30. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 50 is 70. Those are not equal. So this 10 is not the solution to this question. So now we got to figure out what we did wrong. The first thing I would look for is I would follow, sorry about that. Let me find, there we go. Technical difficulties, even in recording. All right, so I'm going to follow my negatives first, because most of the time, if we make a mistake with this, it's going to be in our negatives. Okay, so I start off, there's no parentheses. There's no parentheses. There was no like terms to combine. So variables left, constants right, and divide. All right, so let's look at moving that variable left. So here's a positive. Here's a positive. Some of y'all have already figured this one out. It's also 2 positive over here. All right. Right here is where our mistake happened, because in order to move, we have to do the opposite of what was done before, and then do the same as what we did on the opposite side. So these, let me use a different color. This and this should always be opposite signs. Okay. Then this and this should always be the same signs. That's an easy thing to check, but it's a common mistake, and it's an easy mistake to make. So that means that we need to start our correcting here. So our work, or over here, we're going to write let's not write it like that. Added instead of subtracting. All right. And then we can just start. 3 minus 2 gives me an 1x. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. And then I bring down my 50. Okay. I can divide out the positive 1 that's in front of my x. And I get x equals 50. Now, could I have made another mistake? Absolutely. So I'm going to take this and check it. 3 times 50 equals 2 times 50 plus 50. 3 times 50 is 150. 2 times 50 is 100, plus 50 is 150. Bingo, we nailed it. All right. So we want to see if this one's correct. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off by checking it. 6 times negative 12 minus 4 equals 2 times negative 12 plus 44. 6 times negative 12 is negative 72. Minus 4 would be negative 76. Negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. And negative 24 plus 24 is going to be 20. So those are not equal. So we have made a mistake. All right. So no parentheses, No like terms to combine. No variables to move. There is a variable to move left. There's a constant to move right. And it looks like there's some division going on. So let's start by checking our signs. So on the variable, I've got a positive and a negative. And then I've got the same thing over here. So that's right. Now let's check our constant. Okay. It looks like we moved this constant, and it started off positive, went negative, and is a negative over here. So that's not a sign issue, but it's still a very common issue, as we took both the variable and the constant to the left. There's nothing here. Okay, we've got to split the variable and constant. So this doesn't work. Anytime you end up with both your variable and constant on the same side of this line right here, you're going to get a sign error. It's going to be wrong. You have to have them on opposite sides. And you can't just, oh, they're both over here, they don't both need to be over here, and write negative 48 on the other side. You're still going to have a sign error. Because in order to get negative 48 back to the other side, what do you have to do? That's right, you got to do the opposite. So it would become a positive 48 to be on the other side. So you've got to make sure and split your variable and your constant on opposite sides of that equal bar. All right, so we're going to go back. First of all, let's write down what we did wrong, or what was done wrong. Both variable and constant moved to the left. All right. Here we go. Now we're going to actually work this out. 6x minus 4 equals 2x plus 44. All right. Subtract the 2x from both sides. This time, instead of subtracting 44, we're going to add 4. That way I'm splitting my constant and my variable on opposite sides of the equal bar. Okay, so that gets you 4. And that goes 0. Sorry, I forgot my x. There we go, that's 0. That's 48. See how the 48 is now positive? So this time when I divide both sides by 4, I get x equals 12, a positive 12 instead of a negative 12. So then I can plug in 6 times 12 minus 4 equals 2 times 12 plus 44. All right, 6 times 12 is 72. Minus 4 would be 68. 2 times 2 is 24. Plus 44 is 68. So now I'm right. All right, let's check it one more time. Okay. So we're going to do 8, open parentheses, 5, base 2 divided by 3, close parentheses, plus 2. And you can type that in your Desmos calculator. Equals 2, open parentheses, 5 and 2/3 minus 36. So 8 times 5 is 40. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Do a little scratch work here. I'll erase a minute. Because y'all get to use your calculator, and my calculator in this recorder don't work. So 40, and then I've got 16 divided by 3. 15, which is 5. So now I'm at 45 and a third. 45 and a third plus 2 is 47 and a third. So if you did that in your Desmos, you'd get 47.33. All right, 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Divide by 3, 1 and a third. So that's going to be 11 and a third. Minus 36 is going to be 2/3. Negative. And 11 from 35 is 34. No, 24, Cooper. Yep. Negative 24 and 2/3. Okay, so those are not equal. Now, on your independent practice, you may have 1 or 2 that are actually equal and correct. So make sure you check before you try to actually check to see what was done wrong. All right, here we go. We're going to check. We start with a positive, change it to a negative. Then we kept the same. Okay. Then we, over here, we started with a positive, changed it to a negative, and kept the same. So I did my signs all right there. So now let's check the arithmetic from left to right. 8 minus 2 is 6. That works. This is 0, so that's why it wasn't brought down. This is 0, so that's why there's nothing below it. Negative 36 minus 2 is not negative 34. Ninjas and ninjas get together. This should have been a negative 38. So that's where we went wrong. Negative 36 minus 30, what the world? Minus 2, not minus 30 anything. Minus 2 equals 38, negative style. All right. So we should have 6x equals negative 38. Then we're ready for our divide. We're going to divide both sides by a positive 6. These cancel out. And we're left with x equals 36 is 6. So negative 6 and 2 6, which reduces to 1/3. And then you can check that in the interest of time and to get your notes on so y'all can get started with your independent practice. We're going to move on. You will not have an equation that's this complicated, but this equation reviews everything we have to do to an equation at this grade level. So, first things first, we have fractions we want to deal with. To get rid of fractions, we have to multiply by all the denominators. Okay? Well, I can multiply everything by 2. I can multiply everything by 3. That'll get us there. Or I can multiply 2 and 3 together and then multiply everything by 6 and only have to multiply everything once. So I'm going to multiply all of this by 6. So 6 times negative 1, and do this as a little scratch over here. 6 times negative 1 over 2. Well, 6 times negative 1 is negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So I got negative 3x. All right, now, for this step right here, this can all be treated as a variable, okay? So I don't have to multiply inside that set of parentheses. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. And the reason is, here in a minute, whenever I take care of my parentheses, I'm going to be multiplying everything inside by the 6 now because it's part of that 12. But we just don't have to do it at this step. And then we got 6 times 1/3. 6 times 1 is 6, divided by 3 equals 2. So this equals 2x. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So now our fractions are on. We're ready to go through our steps. So we're going to do parentheses, combine like terms, variables left, constants right, and divide. All right. Draw our little line to keep ourselves neat. There are parentheses, so we need to take care of those. I'm not going to do anything with this 3x right yet. Now I'm going to go negative 12 times x. Negative 12x. Negative 12 times negative 1 is a positive 12. The parentheses are dealt with. 2x minus 6x plus 12. Now we got like terms to combine. I have, this is a like term, and this is a like term. This is not. This and this both have x's, so they're like terms. This is a constant. So we combine these two. Negative and negative become more negative, so negative 15x plus 12. Positive, negative, opposite sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number. So 6 minus 2 is 4. X plus 12. And it's negative because 6 was negative. Alright, so now I've combined my like terms. I'm ready to move my variables left and my constants right. We're going to do those all in one step. So the opposite of a negative is a positive. So plus 4 x. What I do to this side, I have to do over here. Plus 4x. Line up your x's. Positive 12, the opposite's negative. Negative 12, negative 12. Opposite sign, subtract, keep the sign larger. Negative 11. Big fat 0. Big fat 0. 0. Negative 11 equals 0. Divide both sides by the negative 11. And I get x. And if I have nothing and I put it in 11 boxes, each box has nothing in it. So x equals 0. Again, plug that back in and check it. Alright, but for the sake of getting y'all on your independent practice, we're going to move on. Alright, there are 2 8th grade classes are selling raffle tickets. Class 1, so we're looking at class 1. Or one class sells tickets for $2.50 each. They already have 350. So we got 350. And to that, we're adding the raffle tickets we sell of $2.50 each. So that's got my X. And then class 2, or the other class, is selling them for $3 each and has raised $225. So $225 plus $3 each. And we want to write and solve an equation for t. Well, so instead of x, they want this in terms of t for ticket. Mathematically, it makes no difference whether you use x or t, but on a multiple choice test, they would have t there for the variable instead of x. All right, and now we want to solve this. So, there's no parentheses. There's no like terms on either side to combine. And we've got variables. Yep, we need to move them left. We got constants to move right. And we probably are going to end up dividing. So we're going to start off. Opposite of a positive is a negative. What I do to one side, got to do to the other. See, notice how I line up my t's. If you'll write down your t's, it's easier to notice that you didn't put it under a t. All right, minus 350, minus 350. And yes, you could have absolutely took your constant right and your variable left, or your variable right and your constant left, even though that's not the way we normally do it. Mathematically, as long as they go to opposite sides, you're fine. This is a 0. Opposite sign subtract, keep the sign larger, so we got 50 cents. Opposite sign subtract, keep the sign larger, so we got negative 350 minus 225 is negative 75. Now we're ready for variables are left, constants are right. Now we're ready to divide. Divide both sides by negative 50 cents. Okay, these cancel out. You're left with x equals once again, I don't have my calculator, so I'm going to go, it's going to be positive 75 times 2. And the reason I'm doing 75 times 2 is, let's back up. 75 divided by 1/2. keep, change from division to multiplication, flip from 1/2 to 2/1, which is 2. There you go. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry 14, 15. That's what I was thinking. 150. All right. Now you're ready for independent practice. Remember to work silently. Write down all your work. Use your notes to help you, and raise your hand for help. Thank you.